lying if I said, well, I was sitting in 6th grade classroom and I decided I wanted to be superintendent of schools. It was after I was in the profession for several years, and I felt, you know, public education is so important. We need to have the State Department and the state superintendent take a more proactive role instead of reactive role. And so I felt there was a lot of synergy there, and I felt that it could be even better. So it was about me thinking through, you know, I had experience at the local level, I had experience at the CISA level, and I saw the power of what the state superintendent could be, and I decided that's where I wanted to be. Say 5-6 years, something like that. But you know, I just had the opportunity to interact with department folks in different ways along the way. And I saw that there was great potential there, and I feel that we've realized that. I'm blessed to have a great staff. You know, it's not the most popular thing to be a state employee these days, but even as we've had turnover because people are retiring or whatever, we've had really good fortune to have a really great staff at the department. Some of the challenges are probably around the politics. We've kind of lost the ability to communicate with people that maybe oppose us, and it's a lot of strident stuff. And I guess it wasn't a surprise, but I guess I wasn't. I was a bit surprised at how comprehensive that action that is across the state. So, and I think it's going to swing back where people feel confident that they can speak out in a public session without being criticized or not having people criticize publicly in a way that's really inappropriate. So that kind of rhetoric doesn't work for me, and frankly, I think it's one of the reasons we have fewer and fewer young people entering the profession. I think our teachers and people that work in schools are extraordinarily skilled at building positive relationships with kids. You see that across the state of Wisconsin. You see it in the lunch lines of our schools, where people, we affectionately call them the hairnet ladies, where they're interacting with students so that they understand their needs, all the way to the classroom teachers and the administrators. I just think our ability to build relationships with kids is part and parcel of kind of the Wisconsin shtick. And I think that's really important, you know, and once you have built those relationships, the ability to teach academic content and all the things that young people need in order to succeed in this world come a lot easier. Yeah, and so our teachers are just extraordinarily gifted at building those relationships. You see, I mean, if you want to see relationship building, go to the FFA convention or go to the DECA convention. See these young people who know how to interact with adults, that are skilled and have great content knowledge. Their future is bright. There's a lot of that going on in the state. One thing will be the same is that teachers will be building solid relationships with kids, whether you look out 5 years or 30 years. That has to happen. I see technology being a driver of many initiatives. Not a driver, it can't be a driver, but it will facilitate a lot of ways to personalize learning and really have kids engaged in their learning, and also kind of having agency in their learning, having a stake in what they're learning. You see that across the state already, but I see technology advancing that going forward. And I also see that the schools across the state are working well with the business community and kind of thinking ahead, what are going to be the jobs for the future, what kind of skills are needed. But a lot of those skills are not going to change, a lot of the interpersonal skills and so on. And so we know that's going to happen. We have to be prepared for students going into a workforce that is going to be different, and it's going to be different for the rest of their lives. I mean, the idea that somebody's going to be going to the Kohler company and working there forever, those days are gone. I mean, it just doesn't happen. So we need to make sure our students have kind of the skills they need to be nimble going forward. There's a number of advisory councils at the state level. It's not unusual for parents to write me and say, I'd like to be involved in this and this and this. We try to work them in, but we have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people across the state that work on our advisory councils. Everything's local in this state, and the people that make decisions in Madison are elected locally, and I think people should be involved not only with their school board and their principals and their teachers and being supportive and helpful, but they also have to be involved with their local public officials that are elected and are in Madison that are making decisions. That's where the rubber hits the road when we talk about resources and other issues that we want to make sure that decisions are made in the best interest of kids. You know, I'm a grandparent now, all my kids are grown, and I have a vested stake in their educational well-being. And I talk about my youngest grandkid, who is now 2 years old. It's not fair for him to go to a school that's a have-not school. He has to go to a have school, as should every kid in the state.